Welcome to another episode of the Get Out Swim podcast. I'm your host, Seamus T. Quinn, and today I'm joined by a longtime coach, and he is now in his fourth season at Ohio State as the associate head coach and player development for men's and women's swimming. Today's guest is Brian Schrader. Brian, thanks for hopping on.
Seamus, thanks for the invitation. Glad to be here.
Totally. Tell us a bit about your time at Ohio State and being in the midst of your fourth season here. What has grown over your time working with Ohio State, and who do you work with on a day-to-day?
So I work primarily with the male sprinters, but I also coach the underwater specialist group. So we've addressed that in a pretty unique way at Ohio State. We meet 3 times a week for specialty kick, and so that's Monday, Wednesday, and Friday afternoons. I have all the dolphin kickers on the team. If you need to be good at dolphin kicking, which I don't know what event at this point you don't need to be good at underwater kick, but we divide our team into thirds. You're either going to dolphin kick, breaststroke kick, or flutter kick. And so it's a pretty big group, but, one afternoon is devoted to capacity and tolerance, and one afternoon is developed towards power. And then one afternoon is sort of a hybrid, like how are we going to put it all together and make sure it translates and we're getting power, speed, and efficiency underwater.
Cool. Can you break those down and sort of what that means?
So Monday afternoon, it might be a threshold kick set type of effort. And we'll do some timed efforts to get paces for those threshold swims. And then I'll design a set that where they need to hold paces in duration for probably 40, 45 minutes, but also holding kick counts, kicking strong. It may be a set where we're going 2100s on 140, where number 5, number 10, and number 15 are easy. And I'm asking them to hold a threshold pace throughout the set and underwater kick counts, right? So 7, 9, 11 kicks per wall. Sometimes we'll get the cord out, put it halfway, and they'll have to kick under the cord off each wall. And and then Wednesday afternoon is pure power. So we're trying to train at a 6 to 10 second effort all out, whether that's underwater or on the surface with the board or a mix. But we're really trying to develop power kicking, and we want to offer them a lot of rest in return for a really deep focus on intense efforts, right?
Yeah.
And we might get out the power racks, the power towers, drag socks, stretch cords. Like, we're going to do everything we can, monofins, to try to develop full body force underwater, and good technique, good 3-joint articulation, really trying to kick both directions, all the stuff.
Totally.
And then Friday afternoon it might, like I said, we want to translate, right? So what are we doing to give them opportunities to translate 7 kicks into 5 strokes for a 25, right? 11 kicks into 4 strokes for 8 laps in a row. So I'm just going to create different opportunities to allow them to get comfortable doing that, express themselves really well underwater, again, building confidence and comfort, right? Like, at this level, you've got to be challenged to be comfortable underwater, and you got to get uncomfortable to get comfortable. So
yeah, absolutely. So that's interesting, because as a sprint coach, much of your focus needs to be on underwater. And so what you're saying is that you have 3 kind of sessions, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, where you're specifying underwater work. Is that right? Where it really is like 3 sessions of just underwater focus and kick, or are you then weaving it into like sprinting within those sessions, or in a separate block?
So those are 3 55-minute sessions, right?
Okay.
And then I've got 6 more sessions during the week where it needs to be a part of what we're doing, right? Like, especially if we're going to do it at a world class or a high level. So, but here at Ohio State, it's been really fun to see it take hold. My first season, Ruslan Gaziev dropped from 19.6 to 19.0 in 1 year, senior year, and he dropped from a 41 mid or high to 40.9. He got fourth at NC2As, won the Big Ten championship, largely in part because I feel like the underwater kicking helped him take a stroke off his 50 and probably one or two strokes off his 100, in addition to really good power work where we're working efficiency and power through his hands and his feet, right? And then I think we saw a big, Matthew Klinge, the Big Ten champion in the 50 this year. He was a freshman. He's very talented underwater, right? So he continues to take that forward. And then our two swimmers that went 18 with him last year, Mario and Daniel, they both had a good 2 years of dialing in underwaters, and everybody's so different at it, right? Like nobody kicks underwater the same, nobody swims the same, but they're all learning to be much, much better at it. Mario got to be super efficient at it, right? So we're seeing good impacts on our strokes and our swims, and not only with those guys, but across the team, men and women.
Yeah. I remember seeing an Instagram post, just looking on your feed it was like 3 guys last year, I think in prelims. I think it was Matthew, Daniel, and Mario. It was like 1, 2, 3, boom, prelims, 50 free, top 3 spots, all going sub 19. So yeah, when you look at that as a coach, obviously getting it done in prelims to come back in finals, like, do you think of what do you think of that got them there? Like, is it, like just intentional work with the underwaters and what you're talking about, and, coupled with obviously the sprint work and the out of water work? Like when you look back, it's like, how did they get there?
That's a great question. And, it's part of the fun of being a coach, right? You got to get all those things connected. You got to get them ready to go at the same time. And they're all different athletes, right? So that's a great question. I think I'll just go back to our group. We had great leadership. We got good culture. So you have 2 seniors, Daniel and Mario, that were great leaders for our team, and they really set the tone, right? Like they knew when to be working, when to have fun, when to get everybody going. And, it's just a fun vibe. So I think those things, it's a good synergy, right? And on quality sets, you have to learn performance on demand, right? And that's hard, especially for freshmen. It's as a senior, you learn the grind, right? You've been through it. You know what it's like to swim tired with weights. You know what it's like to get up for dual meet efforts when conditions aren't perfect. Maybe you're suited, maybe you're not suited. So, having those guys anchor that group after, 3 years of building towards those kind of performances was good. We take a lot of pride in our slogan at Ohio State, developed here, right? And those guys put the exclamation point on it, which was really fun. But yes, like you just hope what you're doing as a coach is leading towards those particular moments, right? Your design through the year, through the season, how you're going to plan your taper, how you're going to plan your progressions. And we have an overarching system at Ohio State that I really like. I think it bodes well for what we're trying to do as a collegiate team. And we have a lot of creativity to work under that.
Yeah. And I heard you mention it kind of early on when you answered the question, but there just being a fun vibe, a good sort of foundation of leadership and camaraderie. So yeah, how much, I guess, speak about in your experience, obviously being a longtime coach, how much that plays into, the eventual breakthroughs and success that swimmers can have.
I think it's critical, right? Like, I don't think it's understated when you say a happy athlete is a successful athlete, right? And, I don't necessarily feel like I'm there to entertain them, but, right, I think if they're taught and you communicate well about your expectations and the bar and what you want to see on a daily basis, right? Like, and of course there's going to be moments where you need to correct or encourage or just flat out get after people, right? But that's your job too. And creating a culture where, it's loose, but expectations are high. You have fun with each other in the water. I just think that's the best part of being a collegiate athlete, right? Like you're being with your teammates. Everybody likes to work hard. Everybody likes to swim fast. Like, so just help them bring that out, right? the challenge is healthy and the challenge is real, right? You want to get up and race at your best when the lights are bright.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Absolutely. And for you, you've been a longtime head coach at the University of Denver. You've made different stops along your coaching career, but what is, I guess, unique to being at Ohio State, working with this staff, being in your fourth year as an assistant coach, as a performance coach, that maybe is different than obviously being a head coach or a coach of a club program. Like what makes kind of the position that you're in now unique?
I'm pretty blessed, right? Like Bill Dorencott was kind enough to hire me, and he lets me do a lot of coaching. I do some recruiting, a lot of coaching. Uh, I got some administrative stuff with equipment and the Nike gear. Like that's fun, right? Like you're going to get the team all dripped out, right? That's pretty fun.
Yeah. Yeah.
But like being a head coach, like there's a lot that goes on with that, and I think it can be tough to develop relationships. And I feel
Mm.
like, I'm doing my best coaching now because you know I've been a head coach. I can see the big picture. I can see what's going on with all of it, right? Like what we're trying to do with scholarships, how we're trying to manage our roster right now with this crazy stuff, right? And to be in the background and helping our staff however I can manage that uh, is is a nice role, right? Like it's not all stress, but I have the experience to lean in and help Bill, help Norm, help Nacho. Like we have a really fun staff. You know, Nacho works with the women's sprinters. Norm's doing a great job with our distance and distance IMers. Bill oversees the middle distance group. Uh, it's a pretty experienced coaching staff, to be honest, and I don't think a lot falls through the crack with what we're trying to do with getting kids to the highest levels.
Yeah. I guess one question that comes up when I hear coaches being assigned to different groups or kind of having a main group is how does that work within kind of the bigger picture of a team? Because obviously we need to be training different events and strokes specific to what the swimmers need. And it's helpful to have one coach kind of be on that group and have that be their primary focus. But I sometimes see a disconnect between groups too when they're doing different things. So I guess a question to you would be like, how do you manage that as a staff and sort of see that play out where, you can focus on your group, Nacho can focus on his group, whatever, but then have it come together.
Yeah. So I think it's still a continuation of a really important theme, right? And I've been so fortunate in my career. Started at Texas. After Texas, I worked for the USA national team where I got a 5-year education of watching the best coaches in the USA work with the best athletes. And at the time, as a young coach, maybe I was interested in, gosh, what kind of sets are they doing? How are they training? But I was also just absorbing the background noise of soft skills, right? Like,
Mm,
what are they doing with their soft skills at the highest levels? And then I worked for Greg Troy at Florida, Jack Bowerly at Georgia, and then got to take that experience in my own to Denver. And then now I'm back as part of a bigger staff and doing bigger things. But the dynamic is the same everywhere, right? Like, and to your point, like, how do you make sure athletes feel like they're getting their needs met, right? Like, oh, I need to be trained. Of course, everybody wants to be a sprinter, right?
everyone
Everybody,
looks at the sprinters and
yeah,
yeah,
everybody, and it doesn't matter what team you're on. That's the way it is, right?
yeah,
And
yeah,
then
especially, yeah.
and then you have people that are good at shorter events. You have people with a little more endurance that are like 200, 400, 500 people. And then you have the milers, right? And like, how do you get everybody's needs met? That's the art of it, right? And certainly starting with very baseline groups, like every program I've been a part of, you have to sort of identify the groups first. And then every staff that I've been a part of, and I'm talking about 4 very successful programs at this point. And
Mm,
Denver's in another category because it was a very successful mid-major. but we never had more than 3 coaches on the deck for 70 athletes, right? So finding opportunities, no matter where I've been, like, first of all, to get people's needs met at a very base level as to what they need as an IMer or a stroker, or what their best event might be, right? Like, what are we going to do to make sure a 200 backstroke gets his needs met versus a drop dead 50 person, right? Those things are all important. But in the end, I think all these programs also do a great job of somehow on a pretty regular base, like on a regular basis, everybody is racing each other, right? Like, your best athletes have to compete in practice,
Yeah.
and your groups have to be full of people that can challenge one another within that group without getting stale. So
Totally.
every staff, I think, Ohio State, Texas, Georgia, Florida, we're all trying to find the artistry of finding the matchups, finding the right blend on a daily basis. And yeah, I don't know if that answers your question, but
Yeah, no, that
that,
gives a good yeah, it's just a good picture of how it can work at different levels at different stages.
yeah.
But yeah, I want to talk to you also about just how the landscape has changed, right? Like, we talked a little bit off air, but the NCAA is continuing to evolve and change, and I think, unfortunately, it's perhaps not changing for the better at the swim level, right? At the swim and dive level. And so I want to get your thoughts, because obviously, over the last couple of years, we've seen significant changes, and that's come in the form of swim and dive programs like Ohio State having to make roster cuts, and even now we're seeing a new format to the NCAA championship that is pretty significant. And so just want to get your thoughts as a longtime coach, someone who's served on, boards and whatnot, of what your thoughts are on this.
Well, here we go, right? So,
Yeah.
I've been really lucky to be involved in governance, and I've always think to make our sport better, you have to be involved in governance, whether it's local committees, growing into larger committees. But I did serve on the College Swimming Coach Association Executive Board. Proud to do it, and I think it was a good time to be a part of that, right? Like, things were relatively stable. The House case wasn't on the horizon just yet, and we're just trying to move forward with certain topics, like, first of all, having a recruiting break on the calendar, making sure that every program felt like they had resources to protect themselves from being dropped, or they're being coached up as far as getting better opportunities or fundraising, or friendly conference situations, not friendly, but conference situations that provided opportunity, because those things were evolving too, right? Like, that was when the conferences started to shift. People were jumping conferences. The power conferences were changing drastically.
Mm-hmm.
So it was exciting to be a part of things then.
Yeah.
But as you know, and as we're all very aware of, the House case and these other cases are changing everything, and they're changing it really rapidly, right?
Yeah.
So now we're having to deal with super conferences, and we're having to deal with roster limits, and certain conferences have pretty small roster limits. Certain conferences have roles of 30, and that includes diving. So I think everybody has been trying to manage this and get a hold of it in a way that makes sense. But what doesn't make sense is the opportunities that we're losing,
Yeah.
right? Ohio State was fortunate they could carry big rosters, and to have to lose those people for developmental opportunities, and also just the athlete experience, has been tough to see and tough to do as a coach, right?
Mm.
So, this stuff that's happening at the NC2A level, I'm just not a fan of. And the idea that it came from a coach's organization is baffling to me, right? Because the first thing I want as a coach is opportunities for my athletes. So I
Yeah.
can't fathom why anybody thought that losing the B final was going to be anything we'd ever want to do. And
Mm.
the first rule of any negotiation is don't give away something. Why would you give away anything at the start of a negotiation? And unfortunately, from my understanding, there wasn't even a negotiation, right? Like, this wasn't, if we give you this, we're going to get this. We're not getting more TV time. We're not getting better access. So it's mind-boggling and so frustrating that it went down like that for over 50% of the swims to just go away at the NC2A.
Yeah.
And I'll just reference this as a coach. Those B final opportunities are where the magic happens as a coach, right? Like, most of these NC2A athletes make their first appearances in a B final, on a relay in a B final. And that experience, having to, first of all, make the final in prelims, and then getting to coach them up and get improved performance at night, like, that's the best part of my sport. That's the best part of my day. And I'll just go back to, I think it was my second year as a head coach at Denver. I had an athlete named Blake Worsley, and Blake qualified, I don't know, 14th or 15th in the 500 freestyle in Seattle. And at night he won the B final. And I really feel like that particular swim for him at that point in his career set the stage for everything else that came after, right? He eventually ended up getting to the point by his senior year that he made A finals in the 200 free and 500 free. But in the end, a year after that, he makes the Canadian Olympic team. And this was a kid that, you know, in high school was a 147 200 freestyler. So, but almost every coach has a story like that. And we just erase the storylines. And I can't, again, it's so upsetting, right?
Yeah.
And then I don't really know much if the meet format's going to matter. We had a good format that was exciting, and I don't want to sound like I'm not willing to change. I was in the ISL, and I love that format, right? Like, yes, we need to make our events more dynamic. I love, you know, we're going to NC State for a dual meet on Thursday. They're going to do a light show, smoke and fire. Like, yes, let's freaking bring that kind of stuff, right? Good energy, all fun. Let's get the hype up, right? But, you know, I'm not particularly stuck on any particular format, but in the end, what they've tried to do is reduce the final session to an hour for viewer-friendly format, right?
Yeah.
What NC2A championship in any sport lasts an hour? Nothing. So again, misguided. I don't think they took the Power Four coaches into this dynamic in one sense whatsoever, right? I don't know any Power Four coach that is in favor of this. And the other thing that's I think egregious is this idea that the mid-majors get the golden ticket.
That's the other thing, right?
I was a mid-major coach. We took University of Denver to being the number one mid-major team on collegeswimming.com for 3 years in a row for our women, and our men were the only non-FBS school to be in the top 25 at the NCAA championships.
Wow.
So, you know, we got it done, and we got it done without being fully funded. We got it done with a limited staff, and we got it done because we worked our asses off to recruit and coach kids up. So if the mid-major coaches want a challenge, there's the challenge. But I don't see any sense of fairness in our sport to have a faster athlete knocked out because someone won their conference championship. That's not how swimming works. It's never worked like that. And it's disingenuous to think that we're going to compare ourselves to basketball and have a Cinderella. The Cinderella qualifies for the meet regardless in swimming, right? Look at Brian Benzig, right? Like, he's a Cinderella, right?
Perfect example.
And he got it done where he was at, and everybody worked hard to do it, including him and his coach and his team. They had a part in all of his success, but he just didn't get to go and knock somebody out that went faster than him.
Yeah.
Like, that to me is offensive in the biggest degree, because we already have a selection process that works, right? It's not perfect, but everybody who swims fast gets a chance.
Yeah.
When
Well,
you have,
I read it. I read a stat that said that, like even at last year's NCAA championship meets, in the individual events with A and B finals, excluding the 1650, 5 swims from schools outside of the Power Four conferences finished in the A final, while 10 finished in the B final. So, it's challenging the way that, again, the NCAA championship has been constructed, because the way it has been constructed is such that these Cinderella stories can get an opportunity, even if they don't make the A final, to swim in the B final, and to have that, like last year, again, whatever, 10, it outnumbered the A final swims. 10 were in the B final, 4 or 5 were in the A final. So there aren't a ton to begin with. Obviously, that's, to your point, what you're saying. Like, you don't go to a mid-major school thinking that that's going to be a golden opportunity to make NCAAs. No, those swimmers are going to the Power Four schools. But yeah, I think it's challenging, again, the kind of the status quo of being like, okay, this is what we've been doing and it's worked. Now we're going to give mid-major swimmers an opportunity, which I think on paper looks nice, because it's like, all right, these are the underdogs. But I see your point where, but you don't go to a mid-major school to get a golden ticket into, the NCAA championship. You want to go to the big schools.
well,
So
maybe, right? Like, but that's the art of recruiting, right? I got kids to come,
yeah. Mhm.
and but again, the whole organization is misguided, because now they're giving away the golden tickets, but most of those swimmers, if they qualified for a final swim, would have been in the B finals, and now those aren't there.
Right. And that's the
So
part that's,
I just
because then it's not truly the fastest. It's not like that,
right.
right? Because that then you're skewing the actual field to not be the best of the best. It's not the best of the best. Then it's,
No,
it's not.
it would
Yeah.
it was the hardest meet in the world to qualify for, and that's the way it should be.
Yeah.
And now it's not.
Mm.
So, yep.
Where did, and this whole, because I didn't read into it extensively, but this decision came in light of wanting more of a viewer friendly competition and meet. Is that really the basis of it, or is it to do with funding as well, and money? And
I'm not sure. I don't think it helps save programs, because you're taking away opportunities. I think that the idea that we just pretty much took away what our championship, a robust championship, to a tape delayed darling, and I say darling sarcastically. I I just I really feel like the Power Four was underserved in representation. I know the Power Four voted not in favor to take B finals away, and that was pushed forward without a lot of coaches' knowledge. And I'm all in favor for creating a new coach association for the Power Four, right?
mm,
Like the CSAA, they're just lost at this point, and they have let down our coaches and our sport.
mm, yeah, I think that the part that bugs me is like you said, is this in the best interest of, like, the swimmers and the community, or is this in the best interest of, you know people wanting to
I,
throw a new idea out there and just
oh,
see it, like,
I think this was an act of desperation, wanting to feel relevant. And again, I don't think athletes' needs or coaches' interests were being served. It's just so frustrating.
yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah. Well, it's good to get it out there. How is everything affecting Ohio State, like, specific to your school? Like, how is
you
this
know, it's
changing landscape affecting you guys personally, like, as a team?
well, we're we're blessed at Ohio State, right? Like
Mm,
we have resources, and those resources are obviously tied to a really robust football TV contract with the Big Ten, and it's tied to the idea that we have a national championship football team that is driving the bus, right? Like
yeah. Yep.
Ohio State's running in the black. They've not been paying off coaches to leave. They've done a great job managing their facilities and their resources. And, you know, Gene Smith set the table, and Ross, our new athletic director, is just keeping it served up, right? So kids are getting a great experience. They're being well supported. It's been really interesting to watch how NIL is playing out, right? Like our kids that want to work hard and get NIL stuff done, that's happening. We're not taking a step backward with scholarships. You know, we want to compete at the highest levels, and our administration is allowing us to find pathways to do that, right?
Mm.
We are, I have no doubt that being in an institution like Ohio State is going to allow us to remain healthy, fast, a good place to be a student athlete. So.
Yeah, that's great. I wanted to ask you, just behind you there, you have a USA Olympic kind of poster hanging up. What's the story behind that?
So the 1996 Olympics was one of the first jobs on my plate when I worked at the national team for USA Swimming. And as you know, I think maybe you don't know, but they'll always have the athletes sign flags and the staff, right? As we're at a prep camp, athletes will get their own Olympic flag. Everybody signs it, everybody on the team. So this is my flag from '96, and just was a pretty amazing moment seeing an Olympics in Atlanta, Georgia, at that point in my career, right? Being a part of it.
Yeah.
And then later I got to have a much different experience at the Olympics. I was the head coach for the U.S. Virgin Islands team, and that was a blast too, right? Like totally different to be a part of the Olympics with an island nation and not one of the power nations, right? So
yeah, talk about the difference. Like, what was, as a young coach, what was it like serving on, a U.S. national team staff, and then 8 years later, kind of going over to a much smaller, obviously, nation, and with much less resources.
Supporting Team USA was just amazing, right? So, my job title was national team coordinator. I was behind the scenes working on logistics. We didn't have a very big national team department then, so I was filming the races up high in Atlanta and getting that stuff down to literally videotape monitors and helping athletes watch their races, doing anything you could imagine, right? Like, and just support of our coaching staff. It was pretty amazing, right?
Yeah. What's a favorite memory from that time? Like working.
Oh, just seeing some breakthrough swims that were pretty amazing. Like just remembering that was Amy Van Dyken's Olympics. I went to school at University of Texas, so Josh was winning gold medals on relays. Josh Davis.
Yep.
Really, you had some connections there with people that were ongoing. The Michigan team at the time was strong with John Urbanchuk, and just that was just good fun because two of those guys were from Atlanta, Eric Wunderlich and Carlton. So that was huge for them. Total underdog swim from Sheila Taramina, training by herself. She was a Georgia athlete, but had turned pro and was training up in Livonia, Michigan, with her age group coach. And I think she qualified 5th or 6th to make the 800 free relay. And then in the morning had a great swim and ended up being in the top 4 for a gold medal that night. Right. So
wow.
Just fun to see those things play out at the highest level and all the things, right? Like watching the flag go up on home soil. Very cool.
This segment of the podcast is brought to you by SwimSmart. SwimSmart is an incredible company that has a plethora of tools, including designs like the push paddle, the power harness, the squeeze line, and an informative book like The Biology of Swimming. If you're interested in learning how to level up your swimming, go to swimsmarttoday.com to find the best tools for you. Use code GETOUTSWIM for a discount on your purchase. Thanks again, SwimSmart. Yeah, absolutely. And then for the Virgin Islands, what was that? How would that change that?
So I had a good sprinter at Georgia, was coaching at Georgia at the time, and he was good. He made finals at Pan American Games and was setting the stage to qualify for the Olympics. I'm not sure if they had the A cuts or the B cuts back then. I think you had to qualify through regionally and maybe make a time standard. But he qualified to represent the USVI, and then coaching's a small world, and you love the friends you make in coaching. But showed up in Athens, Greece, and Jerry Adams from Schenectady Swim Club had an athlete that was training with him that swam at Yale, and so we had the Virgin Islands contingent, and he was a great assistant coach. Couldn't ask for anybody better.
Yeah, Jerry, if you're listening, remember what he just said. You were a great assistant coach. Yeah, Jerry's awesome. I grew up with him across the pool deck, coaching at Schenectady while I was swimming for the Hawks, which is the team I coach for now. But he mentions your name. So
we say that tongue in cheek, right? But whoever we're talking to when we're together, whoever can say I was the head coach first usually wins that argument, right? So
right.
Yeah.
We'll have to circle him back in at some point, see who gets it first. That's awesome. And so I guess like a question that popped up as you were talking was, so have you always coached, has coaching sprinting been a priority for you kind of throughout your coaching career? Like, kind of what piques your interest when it comes to, again, like athlete development, coaching? Is it mostly on the sprint side of things, or has that changed over time?
It's mostly been sprinting and middle distance stuff, right? Like, I think my first real college coaching job after I left USA Swimming was with Florida, and it was the first year they combined their program, and we had a great staff to work with there. Martin Wilby, Anthony Nesty, Greg was the head coach, and they just combined men and women. So I got to coach the sprinters, right? And Greg was always good about giving me a lot of autonomy to do what I needed to do with those kids. And we had a really fun, dramatic year that year, right? SEC champion in the 100 free, and relays qualifying for NCAA, setting school records, being All-Americans. It was a really good start to my career. And, Greg always was good with training people in a spectrum of events. So that was a great education, right? So, and so was Eddie Reese at Texas. And then next stop was at Georgia for 5 years. And same thing, right? Like, we had a robust program from sprinting to milers, men and women. So to be able to work with sprinters that need to step up and swim 200s at all those places really gave me a good background on strokes, events, and middle distance down. And then at Denver, I had a very good, clear picture of how we kind of wanted to do things, and we had a great staff to allow those things to happen. And just again, I always kind of liked overseeing middle distance and sprint. I think I've evolved a lot as a coach.
I was going to ask how that's obviously how it's changed, right? Like,
the biggest
or evolved.
The biggest steps for me as a coach, I think, is I think I'm doing a lot better job of leaning into athletes and where they're at. I think probably didn't take that much into account as a young head coach, and that's a regret. But I also had some really good opportunities, and some of those were through the CSAA convention, to hear other coaches talk about how they were running their programs or running their groups or dividing their groups up. And we made a conscious decision, I think 5 years in at Denver, to start doing things a little bit more differently. That was in conjunction with just recognizing a need that we need to be better at sprinting, recruit better, coach better, rest better, involve resistance swimming better. And also, we had the opportunity to have Bob Gillett come talk to our team and our coaching staff about underwater kicking, and I think that changed everything, right? So I think within 2 years we had A cuts with both men and women's relays, people swimming in the top 8 at NC2As, and largely because of underwater specialties. I just think changed everything about the way we were trying to do things. So
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
also empowering coaches to coach, right? Like
Mm,
I stop micromanaging and let people coach, and it's all about relationships, right? Like you let people develop relationships with their coaches and be confident. Good things are going to happen. So,
totally.
and I feel
Yeah.
like Bill does a great job of letting that happen in Ohio State, and a lot of coaches can't let their egos go to do that, right? That's a big step. So,
Yeah.
but it's a huge
Absolutely.
leap in performance.
Mm, yeah. Empowering. You're right. Right. Empowering people to have agency in what they're doing
Right.
builds confidence, and then that trickles down. Yeah.
Yep.
Um,
When I was, you said build confidence. When I worked in the ISL, I got to work in the ISL for 2 seasons with the Cali Condors. And my first season, we won a championship, and Johnny Skinner was our head coach. And we met as a coaching staff. This was during COVID. So everybody was stressed out, right? No one was getting to
oh,
train, race, all the things, right? And he's like, just remember our number one job is to build confidence.
mm,
And it was just
yeah.
such a good reminder. And, we had 9 American Olympic gold medalists on that team, and they needed to, they, everybody still needs their confidence, right? Doesn't matter
Yeah.
what level you're at, right? Like you need a coach that's in your corner.
What were speaking on that? What were some kind of memorable moments of confidence building, or things that you saw within that like studded kind of star-studded team? Because I remember Caleb was on that team too.
Yeah. Caleb, Coleman, Stewart,
Coleman set the world record. Yeah.
yep. Olivia Smoliga,
Mm,
we had Allison Schmidt. There was, I'm leaving people out and I feel terrible, but, uh, that staff was really good too, because some of the workouts were us, and some of the workouts were, suggestions from their home coaches that couldn't be there.
right.
And, so we're having to communicate. You be great communicators, right? Like, this is what's happening. This is how they look like. And then, coaches were giving us cues, and we're learning about these athletes on the fly. So again, I think it's all about communication and meeting people where they're at, right? Like if you can recognize like that athlete just really gave it up on a great effort, like give them some good feedback about that performance. Like, and it's okay to be obvious, right? Like probably could have been a little bit better off that wall. You could have, you know, you're showing me your splits differential, like probably need a little bit stronger here. Like maybe try it this way. It's all coaching, but I think people are always interested in honest and transparent feedback, right? And
Yes.
as a coach, like you have the ability to do that, right? Just got to lean into it.
Yep. Lean into it. Yeah. Totally. What would you say is like your favorite part about coaching and kind of building relationships with your athletes? How do you kind of lean into that yourself?
You know, I'm a I'm a nerd. I'm a geek. Like I love just finding out little things about people that what their interests are, right? Like everybody's different, so it's always fun to hear like what people. I always like to know what people's quirks are, and like what they're doing to have fun out of the pool, and what makes them happy, and what kind of drives them to be good, right? So
Mm,
unlocking those things, cracking that code. I just have fun doing it, and it's the blessing of being with college athletes, right? Like huge growth period, right? The kid you're coaching freshman year is not going to be the person that leaves senior year, right?
yeah.
The growth expansion is amazing, right? So being able to participate in that, and know who people are and watch them grow, and just challenge them also, right? Like it's always interesting to see how people react to a challenge,
Mm,
right? And how you can help them react better next time, or you know just be stronger, right?
totally.
Yep. But again, like maybe I dropped too many dad jokes. Maybe, you know, maybe I reference my growing up in a basement in Colorado, watching too much HBO all summer, you know, my movie trivia lore is strong. So just
What are some of
all
your favorite
oh,
favorite movies, HBO movies or shows?
I grew up on all the stuff, right? Like all the 80s movies, of course, John Hughes movies, and then all the Star Wars stuff, all the Star Trek stuff, uh, all the Marvel. Like it's just been fun to see all that stuff come to life, right? So
Totally.
yeah,
Although I would argue that MCU is taking a bit of a drop off as far as movie content recently.
yeah, it's going to be hard to top.
Thunderbolts was okay, but yeah,
Yeah,
it's this
but
next
to
phase is a little
see
tough.
the comic books come alive like that, amazing, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah, totally. No, I love never a big comic book reader, but certainly watching certain
yeah.
shows and remakes and all of it. It's good. What was I going to say? Where did this love of swimming, um, and then eventually coaching start for you? Like what ignited that?
Uh, again, like it's just been really great. You know, I started coaching camps at Texas, right?
Mm,
And not really knowing what that was about, right? Like I think I answered an ad in the back of Swimming World magazine. Come coach for the head Olympic coaches, Richard Crick and Eddie Reese. I'm like, circled it, wrote a letter. Then I'm there, and that summer's culminating in the '88 Olympic trials, right? I'm like, wow, this is pretty
wow.
fun.
Yeah. Yeah.
So so then I'm like, I'd like to be a part of that. So I went back and coached another summer at camp, and uh, ended up just clicking really well with Eddie and Chris, and ended up being their graduate assistant. And that was a place at a time where great things were happening, right? Like I think they ran out a streak of 4 national titles in a row, and had
Mm,
that '96 Olympic Games. Texas had 5 men on the team, right? Like so, pretty fun place to be a part of, right? And
yeah. To start
you're
for sure.
you're learning a lot. You don't even know what you're learning, right? So you just
What
you're just
what I was
seeing
gonna ask.
the sport evolve right in front of your eyes, right? So
Yeah. What did you kind of observe about some of those coaches that you worked for early on, like Eddie, Richard, Greg,
I
Jack?
think
Like,
Eddie Eddie had a unique instinct for just coaching men up. He gave men a lot of leash to be men and make mistakes, and people got first, second, third chances, but also just a chance to grow as a guy, right? Like
mm,
you know, Texas was a really fun place to be a part of, and still is,
yeah,
I'm sure. But Eddie had a unique gift for letting guys play, right? There's a four square, there's a tile 4 square court on the deck there, and or it's 6 square, and we play 6 square at Ohio State. It just sets the tone, right? Like you're going into practice,
mm,
it's fun. Like I can't wait to get to
yep,
practice. Can't wait to get to practice and play some 6 square and swim fast. And of course, there's days where people are like, I do not want to go to practice. I am tired, right?
yeah,
But those days are far and few between, I feel like. So it's just it was great. That kind of fun, that kind of play has always, I think, been a part of me, and that kind of set the tone.
mm,
Greg Troy had a great, you know, he had a great instinct for seeing how people could develop and setting a program up that really developed people. But as you know, Greg had a reputation for being just a really tough coach, and he was,
yeah,
right? But he also knew how to find the very best in his elite athletes and bring it out, right?
mm,
So the challenge was always there, but he could lean in when he needed to. Uh, Jack Bowerly, he was always bright, always positive, always a fun coaching deck to be a part of. He's a big Philly guy. He loves Philly sports. He loves all sports. He loved the University of Georgia. So, you had to be prepared when you went on deck. Like you had to watch the ESPN highlights before you came in the morning so you could make sure that you were on your toes with any kind of discussion, right?
yeah,
But
yeah,
Jack had a system he believed in, right? And
mm,
he had a gift for hiring good people and also recruiting good people, right? I think that was my big lesson at Georgia was recruiting character, recruiting smart kids, recruiting
Mm,
kids that were coachable. I think I saw that in a really big way at Georgia, and that was a really good lesson. Harvey Humphreys did a great job recruiting, and so did Carol Capitani. She was on the staff at the time. Whitney Height was on the staff at the time. Jerry Champer was on the staff at the time. Like he was his own good mid-major coach at the time, and you
mm,
know all those people were colleagues and mentors, right? So, but
totally.
fun to
And
be a
then,
part.
so with all of that and taking that to your own program at Denver, did you see that sort of culminate when you were looking to put together, a staff and recruiting swimmers, and you had that all in the back of your mind, like this is how I want to do it. This is
I'm sure I had it all in the back of my mind. I'm not sure it executed like that sometimes,
yeah,
but
yeah.
we certainly got great recruits and we got good kids and we had some fun coaches come through the doors, like Mike Layla is the head coach at Longhorn Aquatics, and
Mm,
uh, he's a gifted coach in his own right. And Alicia was doing a good job with our distance kids when she was part of the Denver staff the first time. She's the head coach now, and hired Mark, and I think Mark is in a thriving position right now. So, yeah,
totally.
yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. Um, what, like, when you look back, what are some of your favorite races, just moments that you have presided over as a coach?
Oh, there was a kid on Texas's team in '96 that I coached on when I was a coach at Texas Aquatics, and so he came through and he was a good junior national level swimmer, and then he was part of the '96 Texas team that won a national championship without ever winning an event. Right? No one won an event,
Wow.
but
Wow.
they won the national championship. Right? So he went from I don't think he was seeded, but he ended up being in the top 8 in the 50 free, and that was one of the sparks, right? Like that was one of the events of the days. And then I think at Florida, I had a guy named Nathan Summers, and that was when Auburn was in its heyday. But we won the 100 free at when I was coaching at Florida at Auburn at the SEC championships. Loved it,
Wow.
right? Like, come on,
Great moment.
win it in
Yeah,
their house. It's the best.
that's nothing
And then
better.
at Denver, we had a woman get second in the 100 fly and third in the 200 back, and she was second by just a hair. Uh, that was pretty exciting. She was an gifted underwater kicker, Canadian national champion in the 50 fly after she came to Denver, so that was fun to develop. And then her 200 backstroke was 150 point, which was it's still good now, right? Like,
Yeah.
and during that same era at Denver, Anton Longcar, he finished he finished first. He was the top seed in prelims at NC2As after the 200 back, and that's a lot of pressure for somebody that is all of a sudden at NC2As, right? So,
Yeah.
but he did a
Yeah.
great job. He was a 138 backstroker back in the day, and I think
Wow.
he finished fifth or sixth that night, and so
So
that was really fun.
wow.
And then, as a mid major, like when you qualify for A cuts for relays, that's a huge deal, right? Like you're the
Absolutely.
only mid major there, maybe other than the Ivies, and a lot of the
Mhm.
Ivies get their relays there. So that was a big deal for us, right? Like taking big teams, taking 7 or 8 women and 6 or 7 men to NC2As from mid major was really fun, right?
It's a big deal. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then continuing at Ohio State, we've won the 50 now and the 100 at the Big Ten championships. Our relays podium, our 200 medley relay won, right? Like those things we're doing what we need to do. We're going to get there. So
Totally.
yeah.
Yeah. What does the future look like for this kind of college swimming landscape, do you think? Like what does it look like? What are we going to continue to see here?
I don't know. Like again, the landscape is changing so quickly, and I'm going to go back and criticize the committee again because all this change is happening, and then we get a format change and an event change jammed down our throat to deal with in one season. It's not like we got to get the information and then it's happening next year. No, it's all this year. By the way, you got to drop your rosters. We're changing the format and the way you qualify. Ready to go, right? All right, that'd be great.
Yeah.
Maybe we could wait for some fallout before we try to do something we don't need to do. I don't know. Anyway, to answer your question in a better fashion, right? Like, it changes the way we recruit, right? We have to be a little bit more better guesser about who can come in and perform on demand right away, right? So skill development, recruiting, evaluation is very critical. I think we're all going to watch the portal play out. I think men are going to need more opportunities to develop, and those might be unique, right? So at Ohio State, we're starting a concept called the Resident Training Center. And, what's really cool about Ohio State is there's some things happening that are amazing, right? So you could come to Columbus, Ohio, and train with the club or a resident training center at Ohio State. You could go to Columbus State Community College, and you're guaranteed admittance to the Ohio State University. So if you're a guy sprinter that's like 21.7 and you're 6'5" and you're not strong yet, but you have good mechanics, like, there are places where you can still go develop, right? And we want to be one of those.
Yeah.
So whether you enroll at Ohio State and get involved with a strength conditioning program that's supervised by us, and you can swim on the periphery and then try to make the roster every year on a long fall tryout, like, we're not declaring our roster until Thursday of this week, right? Because we're going to keep inviting people onto our team where we can hold a bigger roster and then see how you're adapting, right?
Yeah.
And I do think it's going to be I do think, especially for men, if we have a 30-man roster, that we'll see people come onto the roster after 2 years, right? It's really no different than somebody that comes onto the team and doesn't make their Big Ten team until junior year, right? So it's just
it just raises the bar and
yep.
has more opportunity to come in.
But again,
at a later time.
I'll give a shout out to our head coach, Bill Dorincott. Like, that's a really good concept, right? And we're going to try really hard to execute that concept, because we don't want to see men swimming just fade away, right?
No, absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah, come on.
So,
there's too much. Yeah, there's too much good swimming and people out there to watch that, just fall out completely.
Yep. We have this kind of concept is also helping with our pros, right? Like, we have Charlie Clark on the national team, Hunter on the national team, several Canadians on their national teams. We had Daniel and Matt make U.S. World University Games team, right? Like, so that being a place like Ohio State, having the long course water all year long, like, again, we want to become a center where people want to come train, want to come not live in the most expensive place in the country and have a good life, right? Have a good experience. Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, that's great. What are some of your favorite parts about being in Columbus, I guess, aside from all the swim stuff?
It's a great sports town. Like, Sunday night, I went to the Crew game. They won their round of the MLS playoffs. Like, the community support here for everything is insane. Like, Columbus, they love the Bucks. Like, they love the Crew. They will do anything they can. It's Ohio against the world, right? Like, that's the thing. And you don't realize it until you're here, but it's pretty cool. It's pretty fun. Like, people are supercharged about people coming out of Ohio and doing great things, and certainly Ohio State. But that's fun. I think Columbus is a big little town, 1.4 million. It's become a bit of a foodie town. So that's kind of cool. You have the college spots that are cheap and good, and then you have some higher end stuff, and it's a college town. So entertainment is always good. You're always going to find something going on. So
What's a favorite eat out meal of yours?
Oh, that's a good question. I'm partial to a dive bar here named Johnny's on the Tracks. It's like in
Nice.
an old house, and it's next to some railroad tracks. And it's not a very big bar, but they got great burgers, and they contract with a local butcher shop. So although it's cheap, it's really high quality, right? And
Mm.
fun place to watch a game. So you might find me there on a Saturday night watching the tail end of college football. I don't know.
Yeah.
There's also like there's a chef here that's got his hand in probably 5 or 6 different restaurant concepts, and all of those are really good, right? So Valentina is his name. The name is escaping me, but he has a restaurant called the Pearl. Valentina's. There's some other spots that he's involved with that. It's just fun spots to get
Yeah,
some
be
good
a
food.
foodie
Yep.
for sure. Love it. Um, what is last couple questions here, but what would be advice that you would give to a young coach, a young aspiring coach, whatever level, club level, college level? Um,
You
what's
know,
a piece of advice?
keep it simple, right? Like get some coach's education, learn your energy systems, and then
Mm,
what does that mean for training? Like the beautiful thing about American coaches is you don't have to have a degree in exercise science to be a coach, but you should probably figure that out, right?
yeah.
So I I would tell, I'm one of the few people that has a college degree that I think I can apply to my sport, right? Or apply to my job, right? I got a
Mm,
undergrad in kinesiology and a master's in kines, and I have a strength certification uh, that was a good return to, again, training energy systems, right? Especially with how we're training with a lot of power and resistance right now, right? Like
yeah.
learning what periodization means, learning how to train ATP, learning how to train lactate, learning how to train threshold, learning how to train long endurance. Like, what does that mean, right? And it's evolving, and maybe it's not evolving, but maybe people are just learning how to do it better, right? So,
Totally.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
Uh,
I would, I would say like that's what I would say. Like, don't necessarily get caught up in what people did do. Like, have an open mind about what training might be for an energy system, right?
right.
And
Right.
realize that you got to train on the spectrum of the energy systems
Mm,
to be a successful swimmer, right? You have to
yep.
be on the edge, I think, of those systems, all of those systems somewhere in the week, somewhere in your weekly cycle.
Oh
So,
yeah. Absolutely.
and
Yep.
and it's just really interesting, like how many coaches do things in a different way, but lead to good outcomes, right? And
Mm,
some of it's psychological, right? You got to build confidence, but also design training that brings out the best in people.
yeah.
So,
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. Um, is there a favorite kind of, or not even favorite, but like a set you've done recently or something that you felt like brought out the confidence in people?
I have sets that I go to repeatedly all the time, right? And
Mm,
I don't know. What I like to do is make sure that we talk about having performance on demand. Like if we're going to do a certain something with suits on, like you have to be within a certain percentage of your goal time or your lifetime best time, or you're
mm,
wasting your time, right? We swim events where if you're not training at that speed, uh, I have a hard time making the leap to then you're going to go that time, right? You can't practice being an 18-second sprinter without being able to throw down some 8 or 9 second 25s repeatedly
yeah.
and learn how to do that, right? Like if you're not doing that, how are you going to get faster? If you're not going to learn how to push 20-point back end 50s, how are you going to be a 40-point 100 freestyler? And
Yeah.
40 point 40-point 100 free for men is fading towards the slow end of things now, right? At the highest level. So
Yep.
what what are we going to continue to do to evolve? So
Right.
yeah,
Right. Yeah, it's amazing that the new normal will become breaking the 18 barrier in the 50 free and breaking the 40 barrier in the 100 free, right?
yeah.
Yeah. No, but that's
And then I would tell anybody, like, as a coach, might learn how to manage your time so there's time for you, right?
yep.
You have to be protective of your time. I really believe
Mm,
that, right? Like, to stay happy, healthy, and fresh for your athletes, like, you got to be getting your sleep. You got to work out. You have to have something outside of swimming that keeps your mind working in a really healthy way and not obsessing about the
every
grind.
little thing. Yeah.
Yes, right? Because you
Yeah.
could spiral right out.
Oh,
And
it's all
and now
consuming.
even
Yeah.
as now even as a person, right? Like, I got to find a way to not let my phone control me, right? Like,
Mm,
just insane, right?
it's unbelievable. Yeah,
Yep.
it's well, especially because when you're tapped into a community, I mean, it's one thing if you're not really someone who's attached to Instagram as a form of like, a community or learning. But the thing that I find a balance is I like looking at, my swimming content that's on, my social media because I learn a lot and I'm tapped into a community. There's a lot of, activity going on, swim news, whatever to engage in. But it's really easy to totally get lost. And I feel sometimes like I'm wasting time. I could be doing something more productive. So you're right. It is like
Right. And there's
now
also
more than ever.
there's also Bill, our head coach. Again, I'll give Bill a lot of credit. He will say comparison is your thief of joy, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And we are totally in a position where if we want to, we could let our joy be stolen all the time because we're looking at Meet Mobile, we're looking at Swim, like,
Mhm.
and it's easy to lose sight of the big picture. Like, we want to be good at the championships, right? So, do, can we swim fast all the time? And is that good mentally? Like, and certain events, like if you try to swim fast every week, you probably won't be fast at the end of the year. And of course, I say that, and somebody will prove me wrong, right? Maybe that's already maybe that's already the new dynamic. I don't know, but I know what I know, and that is we want to be good and great at a certain time of the year, and
Yeah. Yeah.
I feel like you still have to sacrifice some things to make that happen,
Mm.
right? And
Yeah.
you
I
have
mean,
to, and I think it's okay to build through a season toward that. So,
yeah. Well,
but
it's like,
it's tough not to look across results and go,
"Phew,
damn,
that team's doing that. This
yeah,
person just went, yeah. Oh my God. Well, it's happening like, yeah, like every meet, there's a a world record being broke, a barrier broken, whatever. It's yeah, people are swimming fast early, and there's nothing wrong. I like the idea of okay, every meet, every race is an opportunity for you to, put out your best performance. Like there's nothing wrong with that mentality. It's just more of we don't want to compromise what's going to come at the end of the season because that is where we're working towards. That's what matters most. But if all the pressure is riding on that point and you being at your absolutely best at that point, is that also detrimental to your mental, you know?
right,
And so how do you balance that as a coach, I guess? Because we do have opportunities to race all the time and maybe, building confidence at certain points throughout the season will lead to a better result at the end. But yeah, that's all got to kind of work together. So, um, all right, last and final question. Are you a fan of a get out swim? And if so, do you have a favorite get out swim story?
I'm trying to think of a good get out swim. It's been a while. I haven't done a get out swim in a long time.
Hmm.
I think I I've I failed on Halloween this year. I had been in the grocery store and I bought a box of it was the triple box of Count Chocula, Frankenberry, and Boo Berry. Right? Do you know what I'm talking about? Just
Yeah, well, yeah, I have an idea of what you're saying.
yeah,
Yes.
just standard sugar cereal Halloween theme,
Yep.
right? Like,
Hmm.
and in the past, I'd done a get out swim where we had done a pumpkin carving relay. Like people had to swim a relay, get out, carve part of a pumpkin, but no
Oh,
one was giving direction as to what the actual pumpkin design was, right? And so whatever relay finished first uh, could pick a practice they got out of, which was a get out swim in its own right, but also have a box of whatever sugar cereal I bought
nice.
for that event. But that just reminded me of that. So yeah,
Totally.
it's always
Yeah.
been like Christmas training where you kind of plan the get out swim,
Yeah.
right? Like they think something hard's really coming, and you give a group of freshmen or a men's team an opportunity to put together a relay or two or three swims where they get out, and that's
It's
always
good
fun.
fun then. Yeah. Well, yeah, it plays into confidence too. Like we've mentioned several times. I think it's a nice, okay, yeah, we're going to get out of a potentially hard workout, give you a little bit of a break, but also hopefully build someone's confidence in the meantime.
Right.
I think that's how I see it. So yeah, it's hard to do. You can't do them all. I think at the end of the day, yeah, it's not realistic to do them that often, but once in a while, I think it's well worth it. So
Yep. If you put something meaningful on the line, like an afternoon off where you're at a beach, or an afternoon off where they know they could earn the afternoon off, so they come in kind of ready, like, hey, we're going to do it. Give the freshmen a chance to earn the team a spot out, where they probably lay awake at night thinking, "Oh, I got to make this happen." So,
yeah,
yep.
totally.
How about you?
Um,
You got your favorite get out some story?
I mean, it's like as a coach, I haven't done them. I just haven't done them that often yet. Um, I think, I mean, we did a fun get out swim when I was at Wesleyan as a graduate assistant for 2 years. It was always kind of on training trip. We would get people up and do a 50 or 100 kind of get out of an afternoon workout, or the rest of a workout. So I think nothing specific, but like those were always fun. And then my college coach had me do like 100 back. I think it was my freshman year, and I was a little bit down about my performance at midseason, and it was a really good confidence boost because I went faster, in a speedo, kind of right before we went home for Christmas, and it was applied very well. I don't even know that we got out of something. Maybe we got out of something, but it was more just like a get up on the blocks and go, see what you can do. But yeah, those are some that stick out. I think yeah, if applied well, again, great confidence booster.
Yep.
So for sure. But all right, Brian, thanks again for hopping on and
Damus,
joining me.
always a privilege, and I look forward to seeing you look good, make me look good in the edits, right?
Absolutely. That's
All right.
that's what it's all about. So but yeah, again, happy to do it, and hopefully, we'll stay in contact, and best of luck with Ohio State this season and moving forward.
Thanks.